We lost at least one fellow who died on one of the forced marches. Kid became delirious, fell out. They stopped the platoon. They made us come back and walk on him until he got up. They made him continue to march. Somehow he walked off into the woods. No one saw him, and they found him 2 days later with maggots on him.
It was discipline beyond belief. At that time, at that particular time when I was there, they said there was only one boot camp in the world that was rougher than Paris Island, and that was a Russian boot camp.
And I decided not to mess around with it when I was in there, because I know that eventually I was going to go to Vietnam, and it wouldn't be to my advantage for me not to apply myself fully to make sure that I was in shape and I was ready for the battlefield for my own benefit.
Well, one of the things I think what the military is trying to do is to take raw human material and create soldiers. So the drill sergeant is the actual hands-on teacher.
It was hell physically because of the heat, the environment, the extreme physicality involved, and then the kinds of things that go on between men from different parts of the country.
The racial situation in Paris Island was awesome. It was like being down in Ku Klux Klan headquarters.
There were instances that we did invade a barracks, you know, to turn over some bunks, you know, go through our little ritual of rumbling and fighting, you know, with the European, you know, because of their statements that they would be making, the slurs.
The word nigger was common. I remember when Malcolm X got killed. It was terrible. Guy came, one of the drill instructors came in and, oh, they finally got that nigger, you know, and it was like a running joke. And, you know, they call you a nigger at the drop of a hat.
Martin Luther King got killed, and when he got assassinated, you know, the brother announced it over the loudspeaker, which he got court-martialed for it, letting everybody know that Martin Luther King just got killed, you know, got shot.
I couldn't understand why they were there to basically humiliate and got some kind of joy out of it. You know, I just couldn't understand that.
Tough, very tough. And in fact, after the first 6 weeks, I called my father and I told him I wanted to come home. And my father said to me that, he said, well, is anyone taking advantage of you physically? I said, no. He said, is there anything that they're asking you to do you can't do? I said, no. He said, well, you started this and you're going to finish it.
One of our guys washed out of Paris Island, and I can remember Perkins calling him in to the squad bay. We had us all stand at attention at the end of our racks. And he called this guy forward, and this guy had written to his daddy. He couldn't stand it in Paris Island. Daddy had to do something, so his daddy used political pull and got him out of his enlistment. And I remember Perkins reaming him out, and he says, take a good look at these guys. I want you to remember when you see on TV, news coverage, anything about the Vietnam War, that these guys had the guts enough, the courage enough to go over and fight for you. And don't you ever forget it. You know, one of those things. And then finally told him to lead the squad, but he had no right to be present.
When I got to basic training, my test scores were such that they said to me, because I had sort of given up on being an officer, they had said to me, your test scores are so high, you can be a lieutenant. You can go to OCS and be an infantry lieutenant in 6 months. So I said, wow, great. This is another way of becoming an officer.
Well, one of the things in this PLC program, that you're being trained to be a platoon commander. There are 40-plus people in a platoon, and when you're a second lieutenant, those 40 or so people rely on you to stay alive.
I knew that I was ultimately going to be making some decisions, and those decisions could cost people their lives. So understanding the importance of the decisions and trying to make the best possible decision that one can make is very, very important.
Well, I think that they challenge you, and I think that they make you come to grips with this notion of, if you want to achieve something, you can get it done. I mean, can you suck it up? Can you perform? And they instill in you this sense of you can do it.
They're breaking you down into nothing. You have nothing. You're nothing. And then they build you up as a Marine. You're a Marine. You're nothing else but a Marine. You're a killing machine. That's it. And we believed it. We believed we could do anything we wanted to.
I was always looking sloppy, but actually I began to gain weight, and I began to grow. And by the end of it, my clothes were fitting a lot better than they did in the beginning. And by the time I came home, I put on a couple of inches.
The food was okay, probably, but because of the amount of exercising that you're doing and all the calories that you're burning up the way they're pushing you, that by the time you get there, I mean, puke could have looked good, you know? Hey, let me recharge my battery here with food. But no, 16 weeks was just too much. They cut it down to 8 weeks. They cut it in half for Vietnam.
And by fifth phase, you're basically, you're ready to graduate and go join the main force of the Marine Corps. The backbone of the Marine Corps is its infantry, and they're called grunts.